Over the past couple of years, the real estate industry has been going through significant changes to adapt to the growing expectations from sellers, buyers, landlords and tenants, not to mention the impact that recent changes to legislation in each state is having, which is making it harder to operate in a real estate agency as we know it. And in addition to government influences, agents need to absorb the impact of the coronavirus pandemic, which is having a devastating impact to some agencies around Australia. So never before has it been as important for business owners to understand their business metrics, their financials, their cash flow projections, their unique points of difference, and how they benchmark their business against other agencies either in their direct market or similar agency types throughout Australia. Recently, the Real Estate Resource Group, which is a not-for-profit referral network of businesses solely established to support and provide resources to agents across Australia and New Zealand, had invited Domonic Thompson, the head of residential real estate at Macquarie Bank, to present to members and guests and provide an in-depth assessment of the 2020 Real Estate Industry Pulse Check report, which is Macquarie Bank's benchmarking report. In this episode, Domonic explains that there's an opportunity to lift fees, but first we must provide additional value because clients are expecting so much more from us these days. At the end of the episode, we'll share with you the contact details of the members of the Real Estate Resource Group, so feel free to reach out to them directly if you have any pain points or struggles in your business that you need help with. And of course, if you'd like to reach out to Domonic or one of his team to chat about Macquarie Bank's range of products and services for real estate agents, we've posted their details also. Hope you enjoy it. Over to you, Domonic.
But it just tells the tale here that there is a continued downward pressure on commissions. We've given some state-based visibility down there. Victoria actually had the largest drop in sales commission over the period. I think it was to the tune of about 0.25%. So there's a continued pressure on sales commissions. We continue to see price be the lowest common denominator of competition when things get tough. No surprise. I can assure you it's not a long-term successful strategy, but people do it, unfortunately. But I do believe firmly that there's an opportunity to not only stabilise this pressure, but actually look at lifting fees. But in order to do that, we need to create additional value for our clients because clients are expecting so much more from us these days, and we need to start really delighting and wowing those clients. And that doesn't just ring true for sales, that also rings true for property management as well, where we again continue to see a downward pressure on margins more broadly. You'll see that as a national average on the left-hand side, and then in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll also see that the state-based variance. Again, Victoria hit the hardest over the last period, and WA has taken a marginal hit as well, albeit 8.7 down to 8.6. So continued squeeze. The WA number, for anyone that's interested why that's so high, there is an element of all-inclusive fees that the market has embraced over a number of years over in WA, so that's typically why they do sit relatively favourably. I'd argue they don't actually leverage and make the most of that revenue and probably could be doing a better job. But when we start to think about high performers, those high performing businesses in market, what's interesting to note is, yes, they are actually able to typically charge a slightly lower fee. That doesn't mean they're out there buying market share, but what it does mean is that they're delivering their services to market more efficiently. So I'll touch on the efficiency piece in just a moment. But so there's a downward pressure on commissions. The volatile environment of the real estate landscape over recent years, which, let's face it, we've had an unprecedented period of growth and financial well-being in the real estate space for a few decades now. It's been very good for a very long time. This volatility, this uncertainty was going to happen at a point. Unfortunately, now is when it's happening. And it's really down to each individual business owners to work out, well, what's the strategy? For many, we're starting to see that it's getting a little bit tough. Financial year 2019 was challenging. Just when we thought the world was a wonderful place again and things were improving, everyone kind of got back on the horse and was having a great time. And then COVID hit, and it accelerated. Not only did COVID hit, but it accelerated the technology, the automation, and just the fundamental transformational agenda. And for many business owners, it's actually just, okay, enough is enough. It's time to get out. It's time to bring forward some succession plans. So we're starting to see, I guess I wouldn't say an increase, but we're starting to definitely see more merger and acquisition activity happening in market. It's not distress at this point because clearly the government support mechanisms that are in place are somewhat working, keeping businesses afloat. Our concern is if there will end up being a mismatch in timing of those support mechanisms and where the economy is. If there is, clearly there will be a fallout from that. But I do believe what will drive the further consolidation, and there is a consolidation agenda playing out in the industry, what will drive it will simply be people bringing forward exit strategies that were undoubtedly going to happen in the next few years anyway. And for many business owners, they simply don't have the energy or drive to go through this transformational agenda and the uncertainty and volatility that will play out for the foreseeable future. So yes, there's a downward pressure on commissions, and yes, the volatility and uncertainty in market is meaning that financial outcomes are less certain and certainly, as I said, more volatile. What's happening with that is just a continued focus on property management. Now, this has been an agenda that's been playing out for a period of time. We've been beating the drum about property management for longer than I care to imagine. But the industry is really getting it now. We're starting to see greater, as I say, consolidation, people focused on growth. But I must stress here, there's no point growing for growth's sake. Growth needs to be well thought through. It needs to be provided for in terms of your vision and your strategy. And fundamentally, if you actually don't have a business that has the right systems and processes and arguably organic growth in place right now, the worst thing you can do is actually go out and buy another rent roll and bolt that in, because it'll end up just falling out the bottom. And whilst you'll be topping up the bar from the top, it'll be falling out the plug from the other end as well. So it's more than just lip service in property management. But what we're seeing as property portfolios start to get bigger and scale and consolidation comes through the market, through in the industry and the marketplace, we're seeing that property management is contributing a greater percentage of overall revenue within a real estate business. Some of it will be impacted by market conditions, because if you've got lower sales activity, it's no surprise that property management will be a larger component. But as well as that, yes, that is happening, but more so we're just seeing a focus on growth and consolidation, and more noticeably we're actually seeing that consolidation play out because we're involved in the majority of those transactions that occur in market. So what this is showing is that WA and Queensland are leading the way. The majority of their revenue in their businesses is actually coming from property management, 52% and 50% respectively. Victoria and New South Wales have still got a way to go, but let's be mindful that they've been operating in very buoyant sales markets for a period of time. It doesn't mean they're not focused on property management, but I think we'll see a correction there, and we'll see some improvement in those numbers as time passes.